Join us on this next 10 days. Let's start with the first place we stayed at. Casa Tao is a beautiful bread and breakfast located on top of a small hill with scenic views, a beautiful pool, fantastic rooms. And you can really see how sweeping the views are all around Lanzarote. One of the really cool things about living at Casa Tao was we could go and do a little Airbnb experience at this little winery called Erupción Winery, which is a new winery specializing on making wines from grapes from Lanzarote. And it was phenomenal tasting the wines. We even ended up buying a bottle, and it was a fantastic experience to try the local wine from the region. The next day, we went up to Tiguese, where we saw the center of the town. We stopped over for a coffee at Matula's bakery. We had some nice local sandwiches, and Lanzarote is very famous for the goat's cheese. And of course, there were local markets in the town with a lot of specialty salts. And Lanzarote is known for its salt plains, and they produce blended salts, very high quality salt. And you can actually buy different flavored blended salts and liqueurs. One of the most interesting ones that we had from a liquor perspective was the Platano. Of course, they have leche de cabra and a few other very, very interesting liqueurs that you can take with you, and you normally don't find them on mainland Spain. We then went to Famara, which is a small region and village which we could actually see from Casa Tao, and it was beautiful. You can see opposing villages from both sides, and if you get there on a gorgeous day, even though you have to drive a little bit off-road, it's not really that bad. The views are gorgeous. There's a couple of small cafes where you can sit down and have some coffee. We followed that up with some advice to go to the Timofaya National Park's Visitor Center. We did it actually one day before we visited the actual park in order to make sure we could go straight to the park and not actually waste time or spend time on the day we wanted to do the park. And the reason for that was very clear, and you'll see that a little bit later. We followed this up with another great recommendation, which is Charco Verde, which is green pool. It's quite an interesting site. There's not much to do over there, but you can still do a little walk around, see the green waters and how they contrast with the sky. The next day we went to the National Park of Timofaya, and as I mentioned, we went to the visitor center the day before, and it was great because the queues to get in there are huge. You can see the cars lined up in this picture as well. And of course, they show you how hot the volcano is by some neat tricks and water gushing out with the steam. They even cook chicken using the steam and the heat from the volcano, and it's phenomenal because you can actually feel it. There are corners of the park where you can go and you actually feel really warm. And this is the great queue to get in, so be prepared to go early. The earlier you go, we went around 10 in the morning, and it was really nice. Of course, no visit to Lanzarote is complete if you don't go walking inside a volcanic crater. You can spend about an hour and 10 minutes going and coming back to the Caldera, and I would definitely recommend doing at least one of them during your trip. Lanzarote is known for its wine, and the Gira region is phenomenal. We were lucky enough to take our car rental all the way up a mountain in these little roads, which were, not really recommended, but were legitimate roads that other people were driving on as well. So there were sweeping views of these vineyards where only small amount of wines are planted in each of these semicircle, and the stones actually protect the plant from the wind, the excessive wind that the islands enjoy. And photos can't describe how beautiful and mesmerizing the landscape is when you actually get there. So definitely recommend trying to find the highest point in La Gairia and trying to drive up to it using one of these roads. You got to be careful while you get there. The Jameos del Aqua, which is one of the remnants from the volcanic eruptions. It's a 20-minute, 30-minute little visit. There's a lot of things to relax and see over there. They even have a restaurant run by the same company that runs the restaurant at Timofaya and at one of the other viewpoints. So make sure you're only eating at one of them because the menu is pretty much the same. But one of the things that we really liked was the drives. You can literally spend the whole day driving in such beautiful landscapes. and especially the Cuervos de Verdes, which is the green caves, and you can see even in the darkness you can see the greenness of the caves. If you're there on a Saturday, the Haria Saturday market, the main street of Haria, you can obviously get all the potatoes, which are from the region, from the Canaries. They're very famous for the mojo potatoes, which are small wrinkled potatoes that you boil and you have with the mojo sauce. And we spent about 3 or 4 days in Haria. And one of the things we did was we had to find a place to eat there. El Rincón de Quino, which is a small bar, had great sandwiches, great service, Spanish coffee, but great orange juices, and a great view of the main street. And the Cactus Garden on a gorgeous day was very nice. You could see a lot of different types of cacti and really, really big and tall ones. And while it's really awe-inspiring when you get there for the first time, we also found that you can see a lot of cacti all over the island. Graciosa is a nice viewpoint. You can look at the islands next door, and on a gorgeous day, you can just park the car, do a little 10-minute walk, and great views, and just contemplate life. El Golfo is a little seaside village, very famous for its seafood. Getting there is good fun, and then going for some seafood. Now, the seafood came very recommended. However, we personally found that the seafood, even though it was good, it wasn't great, it wasn't excellent, but the views were phenomenal. I mean, you can't really beat having a meal with that view. What was also really nice was the contrasting dark sand with the blue water. And this is what makes Lanzarote so interesting, is that you have this contrasting beaches. You had Playa Papagayo, which is, nice golden sand with blue waters. And then you had El Golfo, which was dark sand, volcanic sand. And then you have also Playa Blanca, which is again beautiful golden sand. Playa Grande, which is a mix of it. And we again spent a couple of days in Playa Grande in a nice Airbnb, which was great views of the sea. The Apartamento Oasis Azul, fantastic value for money, close to the strip of nice restaurants and bars, and actually very relaxing. You can also then do La Hoya to Femes drive and end up in a small restaurant for sunsets at the Balcón de Femes, which is a great place to just sit down and have a drink, have some seafood, and watch the sun go by, and to really enjoy your trip in Lanzarote. Definitely worth coming down and relaxing for 10 days. So hope you'll join us for our next adventures.